Good morning. How are we? How's that right there? Sorry, I wish this wasn't in your view. I wish it wasn't in your view. Do I sound okay? Do I look okay? I'm buxed out. I'm just going to get in the spirit. Jovan's coming on, a fellow Bucks fan. We're going to talk some puck. I hope you can appreciate. Yes, I was a little late, but you know what I did instead? I finished my eggs and I finished my breakfast off camera because that is what one of the viewers asked me to do. So I'm going to respond to feedback, not in a snarky way, but if you'd rather me just come on and shoot the shit while eating eggs, then you can tell me. W. Brecky, yep, just a couple of scrambled eggs, salt and pepper, nothing crazy. You know what I mean? 2 cups of coffee. Jimmy Dean on the griddle, nice. Pac-12 went out losers, man. Shake my head. I know. Too bad. No ASMR. No. If your apparel today is telling us to nuke the Eagles, yeah. Bro, what? Eat with us. Well, I got yelled at. Somebody said they don't tune into me to watch me scarf down eggs. So that's that. What's up, CJ Watts? How are you? Michigan walked them. They did. It was coming. We all kind of knew it was coming. I'm sorry, a piece of egg like stuck in my throat, so I'm probably gonna a few times. So if you don't like that shit, just tune out for a few minutes. We tune into Faye W's food review sometime this week. Yeah, Chaco, you know, I will do a food review. By the way, W Cornfields sent me he sent me GRP's video doing Wendy's food review. I think the guy's funny. I know people aren't fans and don't know how he has followers. I think somebody was in here saying that yesterday. I think he's he's just a goofball. But he was like, George is stealing your bit doing food reviews. I said, listen, unfortunately, I have no copyright over food reviews. So anybody is allowed to go film themselves eating a double cheeseburger in Wendy's after losing bets. Couple of big plays missed by Washington cost them overall. Ran all over them. Yep, unfortunately. That game should have been over at halftime, but JJ is a future accountant. I agree. If you don't like Jeremy Tweens, get the Cobb out here. That's funny. There's people that really don't like him. I think people just don't understand him. I think they don't understand that I don't. If you take him seriously, you're not going to like him. I don't think he's a guy to be taken that seriously. I think he's a goofball. You take him for what it is. He's a goofball. And I kind of still think his entire act as a troll. I think he's trolling all of us. Where is the Discord note? He's shaking my head. Oh no, there's no Discord note. That's not cool. Mods. I don't know. Hold on. I got the notification 6 minutes ago. Motherfuck. Well, on that note, we did just get our 700th member in the Discord. W's. Yeah, that's weird. Oh, I see it. There's no notification. Duration 6 minutes. The Degenerate Weekly is streaming. That's really weird. Twitch alert. Oh, that's yesterday. Weird. It says the duration was 6 minutes. This is very strange. Inheritance giveaway at 1K. Yep. Mods, we might have to look into this. Sorry, guys. I'm just noticing this. There might be an error with the Twitch notification. Hold on. This is very interesting. I have an idea. What if it has to do with my new computer? Oh, no. It did the stream fine on Sunday. Started today. This is weird. This is really weird. Started today at 11:05. The right tackle Washington false start. Yeah, we'll fix it. Okay, no worries. Say what you want. Guy is hilarious. Yeah, we can't talk about Trump. I'm gonna get canceled. W mods. Thank you. Can we spray the ice por favor? Yep. What's going on, DJ? I should assist. The Twitch notifications aren't going through for the stream in the announcements tab. I don't know why that is. You hit any TD parlays? No, unfortunately, we did not. We came really close. Came close to the 4:00 one. I needed Josh Palmer. That would have been nice. 50 to pay out like 2,600. That would have been nice. It was fun. I lost 40 to 1 future bet somehow. Won 3 squares last night. 150 units. W's. At least no balloons today. Yep. By the way, speaking of squares, this past Super Bowl, I get 4 squares. They're like 500 a box. I split them. Me, a buddy, Steak, Greg, and I think me and Steak hit the first quarter and halftime. That was a massive payout. W Steak. Out of my realm. If you have a PC issue, let me more. 125 an hour though. Weather update every day from now on. I don't know why I told you our space hit on the Super Bowl. That doesn't matter to you guys. I guess that every time I see a box now or a square, that's the first time I've ever won that before. It was very fun. Also, I have a really fun game if anybody ever wants to play. If you're watching, W's, we got a lot of viewers in here. 105, and we've been only going for 9 minutes. I appreciate that. And W Subbanks, Hill Daddy. I know that was yesterday. You don't get a shout out twice. Just kidding. Fuzzy Wuzzy, 14-monther. W Subbanks. We're going to talk puck. We're closing the chapter on college football. My only thoughts on that game, you saw my prediction was 28-17. That was my exact score. I ended up not betting Michigan. I have Michigan in a parlay with the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. The Harbaugh Bros parlay, just wanted to ride that. But admittedly, I did not want to fade Michael Penix in Washington. They were spoilers all season. They got disrespected all season. Hart wanted Washington. Head kind of knew Michigan was going to fuck them up. I think the better team won it all. The deserving team won it all, as much as I don't like Michigan. But I am in a weird way happy for Jim Harbaugh. I like Jim Harbaugh. I'm happy for their team. I like Blake Corum. JJ McCarthy seems like a very nice kid. I could probably do without seeing him fucking walk on the field barefoot and meditating for the 75th time. But good for him. That's no dig at mental health or anything. Meditation and dealing with depression. Happy for him and happy for them. Corum's a beast. That I got to give my flowers would be given to For sure sits when he pees. Yeah. Listen, I'm sure he seems like a nice kid. He really does. But I just don't think. I saw two things said this past week, which I really took issue with. He uses his leg when he absolutely had to. Yeah, he uses his leg. That's great. That's why I sent that tweet that he is Taysom Hill without creatine. I mean, he made a couple throws. They had some drops, no doubt about it. Sorry, I got egg literally right here. I'm just not overly impressed when I watch JJ McCarthy. Like, he's got tools, he's got potential, but he's not there yet. And so I don't know, just to see people say he's the best quarterback to ever play at Michigan. I don't know. First, second round pick. I ain't using a first round pick on JJ McCarthy. I mean, third at best, and only if nobody else is there. He's nothing special, but he's solid. He's absolutely solid. He's solid. This is going to be annoying as fuck. I apologize. I mean, that egg is like literally right here. I don't know. I said fifth round at first. I would bump it up to, if somebody used a third rounder on him. I mean, there's like nothing else out there. Fine. Future commander. That's very funny. He does one thing good and only one thing, and that's handing the ball to the run back. Yeah, I mean, he can use his legs. He can run. The guy can run. I got to trim my neck. Going to the Magic game tonight, by the way, boots on ground Magic game. If you guys, I'm supposed to go. It's this time. It's not just me and Steak. It's a double date. Me, my wife, Steak, and his wife. We are supposed to go. However, Steak is in Houston. He went to the game last night. Steak shit nuked Michigan for the second week in a row. Michigan made him a lot of money. Went to the game with his brother-in-law. That was awesome. His brother-in-law is a diehard Michigan fan. They had a great time. But the problem is Steak's flight is not until 1 p.m. Eastern to get back to Orlando. So he's supposed to land at 3:30. Well, there is a hell of a storm coming to Central Florida today. I think there's going to be like 40 to 50 mile an hour winds, up to 70 mile an hour gusts. There's supposed to be rain. There's supposed to be lightning. So I don't know if Steak's going to make it back. Steak is an entrepreneur. He is a hustler, but he owns some bars and restaurants in the Orlando area and a car rental company. He is just I would say, what does Steak do a living? He is a hustler. Possible tornadoes. Are you watching the Central Florida weather report? Like, do you actually know that? Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic. Yeah, they're a great team. I can't get that fucking song out of my head. I need them to lose, man. Fuck that. What's Magic record when your boots on ground? Honestly, it's really good. It's really good. We saw him beat the Nuggets last year. We saw him. I think the only game we saw him get their ass kicked to was maybe the Hawks. The infamous video of me not catching the ball. So, anyways, we will be boots on ground. If you guys have any, please get in the Discord. About to be 2 girls, 1 guy at the Magic game. No, I think he'd give the tickets to one of his buddies, Big Al, to go with him. So it's so windy in South Florida. Damn. Oh, wow. Car company, a rental company. Didn't know that. Yep. Can I interest you in another Magic prop, DJ? Fed you front threes last night. Yeah, of course. Get in the Discord, please. Get in the Discord. Go on the NBA channel and let me know if you got any props. W Discords. Chad Henne. I agree. I like Chad Henne. Elvis Gerbach. Anyone? Elvis Gerbach. Hello. Okay, on that note, we do have Jovan coming in. I should probably send him the link. That would be nice of me. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to send Jovan the link. We'll let you know as soon as I can. Sorry, I do have some corp things going on at the moment, so I might just get distracted once or twice. I'm going to do my best not to. I see we got a packed house in here, and I will respect that. I try to shut work off whenever we are in the board reviews, but I got to pay the fucking bills, and I need money to bet on shutout props for the rest of the season. Does he own a steakhouse by chance? No, but maybe he should. That would be great if he fucking opened one up. Drew Henson was a close second one. Yep. When are you all going to talk NFL playoffs? So my plan for the rest of the week is we've got golf coming on. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. We have golf back in full swing. So we're going to have Brian Kirshner on, that little baby. We're going to have Brian on tomorrow to talk a little golf. I'm going to do look ahead for the weekend lines in the playoffs tomorrow. Thursday, I'm going to have Ian McMillan on. Ian's going to come on. We're going to talk a little bit more puck because there's a nice slate. He's also Ian's a big Leafs fan, Canadian, I believe, but he lives in New York now. W's. And then Friday, we will have Steak and Greg on to go over the newsletter and the weekend. And in the newsletter, if you haven't subscribed, you can for free on the website. Let me drop that link for your bitch ass. Go to thedegenerateweekly.com. It's right on the main page. Subscribe. You can subscribe for free. There are people that are paying, pledging support. We do very much appreciate that. I think they pay like $8 a month. Some guy paid like $240 for the year. Thank you very much. So we're going to do a write-up of every game. Thedegenerateweekly.com. It's my jank-ass website. My goal this year is to revamp the website, have it look a little bit better, and to post more shit on it. More blogs, content, and just random stuff. So there we go. That's enough of the corp stuff. We got the Discord, we got the website. Newsletter will be out Friday morning, write up of every game. All right, Jovan's coming on at 11:30. We are probably going to take our time on the ice, and I hope you guys can respect that. Hockey's my favorite sport, and now that football is pretty much over, college football is. We are going to. I also want to recap season future bets tomorrow. I think I did quite well in the NFL. I was a small loser in college. Oh no, I think the Heisman made me a winner, but just straight off of win totals, I think it was a small loser, and it came down to fucking Kansas State not winning their 9th game, assholes. But we're gonna talk NHL. So I would appreciate everybody locking in. It looks like for the most part we are already locked in. We got 10 games tonight in the NHL, but until Jovan comes on, do you want to take a quick glance with me? Somebody said we have a big CBB board as well. Is that correct? We might have to close with college basketball. Yeah, there's a nice looking board. Why don't we take a glance at NBA? What do we have in the NBA tonight? We have 5 games. Let's just talk real quick, if you don't mind, until Jovan comes on. Jovan will be in. I told him to come in at 11:30. Just like to shoot the shit, get the room prepped. A little fluffer. If you don't know what a fluffer is, Google it. Jovan can help with CBB too. Sure, he is. I just don't want to keep him too long. I mean, he's not got another show to go to. I was just saying one is a winner and one is not. I missed something. Booker JT. Krabs may have a mortgage on Iowa State. Really? Why? My magic tonight is Jalen Suggs. I fucking love Jalen Suggs. Excuse me, not Paolo. I think it Suggs. All right, we'll talk about it. Where my NBA head's at. Here's the board for tonight. Let's see. We got Detroit and the Kings. 11-point dogs are Detroit. 240. Totals moving down 2.5 points. I wonder why. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Discord. I'm gonna have to check out the there we go. W's Corey, W King Kong, new additions to the cord. Nice to have you. Welcome. I don't know what is going on with that link, but we will figure it out. All right. We've got a poster plays in there. Alabama. Oh, okay. I see what you're doing there. That's a parlay. We'll get to that a little bit later. Does anybody like the Pistons tonight? DJ, and have a future bet on Jets to win the Stanley, Ravens to win the Super Bowl, and Oklahoma to win the Natty. Oh, Hero Walrus, is that you in the Discord? Did you just post that? I think that's a pretty good Alabama to win the Natty. What are you talking about? Oh, you mean in college basketball? Anthony Black playing? I don't know. No Cade tonight. Oh, damn, I lost my sub. L supporter sub up, bro. Cade not playing, no way. You don't want to buy the bad news, huh? All right. I mean, look, I'm not going to be that guy, but 10-11 with no Cade. Honey. How about 242.5 down to 250? How about buying that bad news with the over? Pistons suck. Yes, CJ Watts. That is a maybe your most accurate statement of all time. The Pistons are 3-33. I guess that would qualify them as indeed sucking. Rare Hovey L. Yep, Paulo rebounds, low total, and teams don't turn the ball over. Not opposed to that. You don't want a bad news with Piss teams. I'm just going to run Ivy props to call it a day. That's fair. If Fox has another bad game, I need him out of all Kovos. Wait, Pistons suck. So the Kings are 21-14. They're 8-7 on the road, and they're pretty good ATS on the road. They're 9-6. 9-6. But the Pistons are 6-10 ATS at home. That's not terrible. I've seen worse in my day. All right, you guys don't want to talk Pistons? That's fine. The NBA board is moose. Yep. Talk to me about my my Magic. Talk to me about my Magic. Magic and Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are 25-10. One of the better teams in the NBA. My Magic. Let's go. 17 more wins for the 5-unit fucking hit on the Magic, baby. Come on. I'm not going to jinx it. 13-4 at home. Great home team. 12-4 ATS. 4.5 to 5. Is that accurate? Yep. Looks like it's accurate. 4.5 to 5. Little money coming in on the Timberwolves. The Magic have been red hot. Jalen motherfucking Suggs. All right. No, too much to go over. So fact girls, the floor is yours. What do we want to do with Suggs? Is everybody playing for the Kings? I'm sorry, the Wolves. I hope so. If Anthony Edwards isn't playing, I'm gonna be very sad. I'm gonna be very fucking sad. All right, hold on. Okay, here we go. Suggs threes is already locked. Okay. The only person not playing for the Wolves is Jay Clark. Carter is out. Isaac's out. Ingles is out. Harris is out, and Franz is out. Yikes. One time I went to a Magic game after the suspension when they got in a fight last year, and like half the team was suspended. That kind of sucked. Wolves healthy, starting 5 in. All right, T-Wolves fully healthy. You like PRA? Okay, fine. Fuck it. I would be down to. I haven't done a prize picks in forever. Oh, RIP my season long entry. Do I get my money back? Hold on. I think I had 4 of the 6 hit. Do I get my money back? No. You don't get your money back? Oh, Gabe Davis didn't go over. So I lost. Oh, Gabe Davis got hooked. That sucks. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna pull up prize picks real quick. Prize picks, NBA. All right, we've got Anthony. Oh, Anthony Edwards. Hey, how are you? You know what? I'll just pull up prize picks on the screen. I know Jovan's coming on. He's a prize picks guy. So we might want to reference it a few times. Let me just log in real quick. I know it's blurry. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me fucking God damn it. Hold on. Oops. Okay. Let me see if this works. The website Prize Picks would like to send you notifications. That's fine. Sounds good. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see here. I mean, Anna's a walking bucket. No shit. Yeah, Gabe Davis, that one hurt. Although he did go over a season prop, thankfully, 725.5. It was my favorite. My favorite season prop. Got lucky there. Okay. Jane McDaniels. Suggs is a fucking dog. He is a dog. He's been balling. Don't hurt yourself, man. Don't hurt myself. What? What did I do? Karl Anthony Towns? Greened out Goblin? Do we want to fade Towns? Is fucking Mike Conley? Oh, Mike Conley might be working the guards tonight. So Paulo. Wow, Paulo's points are up to 28. Look at this guy. He's been a fucking beast. Remember the back in the day? You could get him at like 21.5, 22.5. Not no mo. Not no mo. Rudy Gobert, bitch. Okay, that's it. What it's telling me is Goga is gonna have himself a fucking day. Yeah, we're gonna talk CBB at the end. We're gonna talk CBB at the end. Let's do a quick search here. Again, if you just tuned in, I am going to the Magic game tonight, so I would love everybody's contribution here, reading the board and telling me what to play. Fat Girls is already in here saying we gotta do whatchamacallit. Jalen Suggs. Goga, my ball. Points, rebounds. What about blocks? Bucks gear before they get dogged in Philly. Guess you got to wear it before they get eliminated. Yeah, Philly's going to make it nasty on them. Got small potatoes on Packers money line. I don't think the Packers are going to win. We're going to talk about NFL tomorrow. I think I like Goga, but he is coming off of a fucking legacy game. This guy, where did Goga Batadze come from? Where did he come from? I love this fucking guy. Seriously. Absolutely love him. Oh, blocks, baby. That's going to be green. That's going to be green. He's going to ball the fuck out. Steals. That's going to be green. Goga is stealing some shit. I'm telling you. Fantasy score. I don't care if it's green. It's going to stay green. Goga legacy. Jalen Suggs, 3.5 rebounds. This motherfucker might have a triple-double. You want me to take triple-double, Fat Girls? He's been a legacy because y'all have half the roster on IR. Whatever. Doesn't matter. He would still Mo Wagner is the back. Oh no, you're right. Wendell Carter's not playing. I can't take the threes. That's too low. And I like the under in this game. I think this is a defensive extraordinaire. That's what I think. I don't want to take anyone's over, really. But I would take Suggs. I'm fine with that. I'm fine to tail fucking. Ooh. Who's guarding Paulo? Is it Ant? Is Ant a good defender? I mean, he's green. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Why is the total moving up with two defensive teams, Bubs? Is it? I thought it was moving down. Fat Girls, what are you looking at? It says it went from 222.5 to 217. Cover said 218 to 217. Free throws made 5. Oof, 15 free throws is wild. 28 points. Yeah, I'm not going to take that. Rebounds, not going to take that. Assists. Yeah, I can't be taking that. Oh, can't be taking that. All right. Jane McDaniels masterclass. Oh, J-Mac's going to guard him. Gotcha. He must be a really good defender. I am taking Goga Batatste steals. That's what I'm taking. It's my favorite square tonight. I'm going to see what Jovan likes. We're going to pair it. Taking the wife to the Magic game or what, DJ? Yes, if you weren't already in here, it's me, my wife, Steak, his wife. But Steak is flying at 1:30 back from Houston to Orlando. There's bad storms coming through. So I think there is a solid chance Steak might not make it to the game tonight, in which case he's probably going to have to give his other ticket to a friend. So it would be me, my wife, Steak's wife, and then our buddy Al, which would be hilarious. But we'll see. We'll see. Also, we didn't pack very well when we came to Florida, so we don't have like anything really that nice to wear or appropriate. So it was funny. I took a quick run an hour before the game started last night to Dillard's at the mall. I haven't been to Dillard's in a long time. But let me tell you, the mall closes at 7:00 now. That's insane. And there were like 3 people in the entire store. Oh, Jovan just hopped in. All right, beautiful. All right, we will pivot from the NBA. Let's get to the ice. And Jovan, good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to talk NHL. And not only that, but as much as I love football, it is nice in a way to close one chapter. So now more focus and attention could be into hockey. Where would you rate hockey on a scale of, if you were power ranking your favorite sports? Actually, how about this? To bet on and watch. So a combination. Is it top 3?
No, but it's not like because I don't enjoy watching it. I just think I'm like a more well-rounded. Like I love baseball, obviously. I love football, both levels. I love college basketball.
Okay, that's
so it's
fair.
it's above NBA. I would say that's it, but it's not because like I don't like watching it. I just love all those other sports.
That's okay. Thank God it made the cut above NBA. Baseball is your number 1, correct?
Yeah. That's my favorite, just to like follow and bet of like throughout the year, just because like there's so much new shit that you can get into throughout like the whole season.
I will say it's very fun, and I started to recently appreciate the I guess I don't know, the nuances or like the analytical side of baseball, and starting to, when you go to games, and one of my favorite things is to listen to people in your section, especially ones that you can tell go to every game and have season tickets, and you start to know the players' like tendencies, what they're good at, what they're bad at, and then the matchups. So it's like, oh, lefty on righty. Oh, this guy throws sinker. Oh, he's good at hitting a changeup. I don't know. Shit like that is very cool to me. I don't know that I will ever be able to fully grasp it and follow it. But I love hearing about it from people. It's like another element
like
of,
when you go through all like the baseball analytic shit and then you get something right. I would say that's the most satisfying out of like going through any sort of surgical cell job and lab work for any sport, because it's just like so there's so many nuances, so much detail. It's just like you feel good after it.
Yeah, no, I concur. I just watch from the sideline and appreciate it, and sometimes tell the smart people in the room and have fun with it. Hockey, I don't know. Like I listen to Fruity and Chelly talk about some of them. I think still one of the sharpest reads I'd heard was like right when the season started, or maybe no, it wasn't preseason. I want to say it was like the opening game. I think it was Chelly or Fruity had a Prize Pick square of like face-offs won, and it was like, oh, this guy is just a demon at face-offs, and the guys he's going against sucks. And it was, I don't know, it was over under like 9.5, and the guy had 15.
Yeah.
That stuff I don't think I'll ever be able to cap. But from a distance of like trying to just read teams when they get in and out of grooves, that's kind of the shit that that I like to cap. I think you as well. But are you starting to kind of tap in like a little bit how you do with baseball into hockey?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, hockey props are difficult. I don't do like a lot of SOGs necessarily, which that's like not even just because it gets stat corrected 24/7 this year, but
Yeah.
it's difficult to figure out. And I tip my cap to those guys who figure it out. Really, I just do what I do with pretty much the NBA for a little bit. I look at the board, I try to see what it tells me, and I use hockey brain a little bit. I try to find out like what's the reasoning behind some of these lines or some of these prize pick squares they're putting up, and that kind of builds, I don't know, throughout the year once you have some reasoning based on a couple different teams.
It's funny. I didn't realize SOG props are dead. I've never been an big SOG guy, but I'm not like a hater by any means. But yeah, everybody is agreeing with you in chat,
Yeah.
starting with Chaco, that SOGs are dead. I bet on a few goalie save props this year. I think for the most part, I've won more than I lost. I haven't taken a ton, but I
Yeah.
remember what's very frustrating is taking, for example, Carter Hart against the Flyers, and the Flyers just block like every other shot. And so
Yeah.
I remember I
Speak of
was
the
on the
devil,
treadmill.
I took him last night.
Did he hit?
Yeah, I soared.
He soared over his goalie saves?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So the Penguins are just ripping puck. We'll talk about it in a second. But the fucking all I keep seeing on every stat update was Vegas Knights shot blocked by so-and-so, shot blocked, shot missed, shot blocked. And I was like, God damn it. But yeah, all right, very fun. Let's get into the board. We've got 10 games tonight. I know you made an I'm sorry, not an off season, but a holiday break future that you and forgive me, I've just been busy with family shit and working remotely. I haven't tapped into BTL as much, but you officially pitched Penguins to make the playoffs. I would assume so, right? Was it like last week?
Yeah. I think it was right before New Year's. I think I
So
officially gave it.
okay, so we're about 9, almost 10 days in from that, and that was at a plus price. I would have to imagine every time I look up, the Penguins are winning or competitive in a game. So you have to be off to a pretty good start since having pitched that.
Yeah, I mean they're playing really well right now. They're scoring. I mean they're ripping puck like they were last night. They put up 39 SOGs on the
That's
Flyers,
wild.
which is pretty impressive. And even the game before that, they lost against the Sabres, which I hate that for a couple different reasons. But they had 2 goals taken away. They still dropped like 42 shots on goal on UPL and net. So like that's kind of the surprising thing, because like I told you, I took it because of their defense and they're playing super well, and obviously you still have the slip ups from Jari and Nedeljkovic like at points, but the offense is getting it together, especially like I don't know if you're familiar with their power play drought that they had a couple weeks ago for like a handful of games or whatever. They were on a ridiculous drought, and now it looks so much better. So we'll see. I was hoping that they could get on a really hot stretch at some point before the All-Star break. So maybe they're on that now.
Well, I remember. No, I didn't know about the power play drought. I think I watched the Penguins play hockey twice this year. Both times it was a miserable experience. But that's they're a team. So I bet on them. They were one of my few futures last year for 2 units over their point total. It was kind of one of those ones where it's like their window's closing. Their core guys are still electing to play hockey. Sydney, Malkin. So I thought to myself, they're not going to go out there to just fucking pack it in every night and skate for no reason. But they were bad. They weren't good. That didn't stand a chance. Then we got one of my followers in here, Jesse Marshall. He works, I think, for The Athletic or something. He's a beat writer for the Penguins. And he had mentioned that they switched up their defensive strategy or scheme or everything. So I watched them, I think, against the Panthers and somebody else, and they were playing ugly hockey. It kind of reminded me of like the Islanders a few years ago. When the Islanders would bang against the Lightning. The offense was kind of non-existent, but the defense was so good. So a little credit to Jari stepping up. It'll look more, maybe had more to do with their defense. But yeah, now I'm seeing them fucking score 3-4 goals every night, and they're putting up 39 SOGs on the Flyers. That's pretty impressive. So definitely something to keep an eye on there, I guess, with the Penguins moving forward, or maybe not, since now you're already invested. But I'll tap in here or there. Speaking of the Sabres, that's the first game I've got up on the board at home against the Kraken. The only bet I hit the other night, I think I texted you a few. I like the Devils at the Canucks, which was awful. I kept riding the Hurricanes, and then I got the Sabres at a plus price against the Penguins. For whatever reason, it was a combination of I don't like those minus 170, minus 175 home favorites. I always feel like that's just kind of a number that's like a parlay piece. And it's they either win by one in overtime or they lose outright. But you're right. I mean, it was actually full domination by the Penguins for most of that game. The Sabres are a team, and you and I kind of talked about this a little bit, that we thought might get right and get on a streak, some sort of winning streak, but they haven't. And one of my concerns about betting them in that spot was I looked back at their schedule. They hadn't won back-to-back games in 2 months. I think they've only done it twice this year, in the first couple games of the season and then on November 1st. So I was very concerned with that, but they did it. I'm going to pull up the board here now. Now they're at home and they're playing the Kraken, who I don't know how I'd miss them entirely when we were talking about teams to invest in after the All-Star break and teams that needed a reset. The underperforming Kraken to start the year go on and have won 6 straight games. I mean, 3 of those being on the road against the Flames and Kings. Flyers are no pushover. They played hard. Fucking Vegas in a neutral is shutout. And then the Senators, who I think are absolutely terrible. So they haven't played since in 5 days. Now they go on the road, and they were road wagons last year, not so much this year, but they are absolutely getting right. And we got the Sabres, who finally, again, like I said, won back-to-back games. My first thought in this game is probably a square under. And I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know if you have any thoughts in this game. Do you think anything is suspicious with the line, with the Sabres, the right team favored? Sabres are below 500 at home. Looks like they're minus 110. They were minus 115. So the line's moving towards the Kraken per Action Network. And I'm seeing the under 6.5 is minus 125, but it's not moving much. So There's heavy juice there, but the number hasn't moved. What do you have any thoughts on this game?
So I was planning for Sabres to be like a map play today, because the reason the Kraken have been so good and the reason why they're on this 6-game winning streak is Joey Decord in net has been literally prime Marc-Andre Fleury in net, and he's been absolutely incredible. A lot of these games too, he's given up like 4 goals in the past 5 games, and all of them are 30, 40 save performances. So like he's been amazing, and those are against a lot of teams that rip puck. And the Sabres at home against a couple of these teams, they've been a little better, but like they're not a team that really goes out there and rips puck and is super aggressive offensively. So now we have the Sabres. I really wish they were coming off of something other than a Penguins game that they really shouldn't have won. But the Kraken are coming off of, they haven't played since Thursday. So like when I look at the board, this screams one of your to score first. And then I look at the odds for this game, which I think are pretty interesting, because they're near a pick 'em. But like for reference, usually when you're like minus 130, minus 135 on the ML, you're like minus 120 to score first, which that's the same price the Sabres are getting today, which I think is really interesting with this little long rest that the Kraken are off of, and their goalie kind of carrying their little 6-game win streak. So like I would be kicking myself if I didn't play the Sabres in this spot, just because I want to find the fade to court spot, whether it's today or Thursday. They go to DC to play the Capitals, where I also think they're going to lose, but I have to do it today. Sabres and them to score first.
Sabres to score first, and I'm sorry, the Kraken go to DC next.
Yeah, on Thursday they go to DC.
Okay, so you think the Kraken are going to lose in DC, so that's why you're concerned about fading them here, because you'd rather just wait. I just want to make sure.
It's partly that, but it's also partly I hate the spot for the Sabres a little more, because that was the flukiest win ever on Saturday.
It really was.
With 2 disallowed goals, and they just got dominated the entire game. So like I hate that, but I will say, I mean, Joey Decord and the Kraken on a 6-game winning streak plus money against the Sabres seems a little enticing.
You know, that's something I'd like to pay attention to. I mean, what are we, about 40 games into the season? I always love when I when I do watch hockey, when I live bet hockey, one of my favorite things to do, excuse me, I've had eggs stuck in my throat for the past 40 minutes, so I'm going to be hawking a little bit. I apologize. One of the things I love to do is when you watch a game and in the first period, one team gets clearly outplayed, yet they survive the period. So whether it's 0-0 and they were outshot, 18-4, or they somehow got a fluke goal, because we see it happen all the time. You know, sometimes you get that fluke, one shot in your first or one goal in your first couple shots. So you make it out of that first period alive. I love to bet on that team. So even though you watch the game in the first period, like, holy fuck, they look so much better than the other team. They're going to dominate. Everything kind of shifts because they wake up a little bit. They got their skates. So it's like pouring cold water on them, smack them in the face. They come out. That team, from what I follow, tends to usually win. So what I'm wondering here, what I'm getting at is the Sabres winning a game that they had no business winning. And I mean, they really had no business winning. I was checking that box score because they went up 1-0, and I think they were getting outshot 20-6. And you're right. I kept getting a notification that the Penguins would score, but then I would open it up and then the goal was not there. I was like, is my app glitching? So I am curious, how do teams fare that next game when they basically stole one? They play a little bit better. I might just sit on the sideline here. Bert said he loved the first period under. I kind of like that too. Kind of just the style of hockey. And also the Kraken not having played in 5 days. I don't know that they're going to come out and light up the scoreboard. I don't see them scoring in the first period. If the Sabres score first, I would co-sign that. But I do have to mention, I think the last 2 first period unders I've liked have involved the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I think there's been a combined 35 goals in those first 2 first periods. So I'm going to probably stay off. And it sounds like you might as well. But if you play something, you would play the Sabres score first over the Sabres money line?
I'm going to play the Sabres to score first. I'm just trying my hardest to get myself there with the Sabres. Honestly, this might be like a mandatory fade the Kraken martingale if I'm going to play the Sabres today, and if they don't come through, and I feel a little odd about it, I'm just going to put 2 units on the Caps on Thursday, because this is like I think I told you about how I felt like the Kings on that road trip in New York when they're undefeated. Like,
you nailed Rangers it. I remember.
Isles, which I didn't need to go and do it like the Sunday when they played the Rangers, I think it was, because they lost on Saturday. But it's the same kind of approach I think I need to go with.
Okay, cool. I'm with it. I definitely, and it's a weird feeling, but I have the Sabres under point total as one of my futures. So I'm happy to see them not doing well. But as a hockey fan, I just can't help but think they're probably going to go on a little bit of a run where they win 7 of 10 games.
I'll tell you what. I mean, if they get this game today, this is a pretty solid scheduling stretch for them. They go,
is it
Kraken, then they got the Sens at home on Thursday, then they go Canucks, which will be a tough game, but then Sharks, Blackhawks, Lightning, all at home. This is like a 6-game home stretch. So I mean, they have a pretty favorable schedule here. And even when they go on the road right after, it's Ducks, then Kings, but then back to the Sharks. So if there's any time for the Sabres, it's right now.
You're absolutely right. I mean, on that note, I might sit this one out, but I'm going to keep an eye on this entire stretch. And I don't know what kind of lines, they'll be laying against teams like the Blackhawks and the Sharks. I don't know if this means last time they were minus 120 or what. I'm not going to look too much into that, but I might be looking to play them there. All right, good stuff. Let's talk about your Tampa Bay Lightning. So they're at home tonight. Let's see what the accurate line is. They're plus 100. So even money. The Kings are minus 120. I'm seeing total is 6. Looks like the over is minus 130 according to Action Network. The Lightning, to me, have been a team that I've really wanted nothing to do with because they've got a lot of miles. They got a lot of vets. But I just think that they've played a lot of hockey in the past 4 years. And they're wearing down, and Vasilevsky was hurt. We'll give him that asterisk on the start to their season. But he's back. I haven't really been following how well or how poor he's been doing since. But I have thought, no, not good.
No, which part of it's just been the defense leaving him out to dry, but he's allowed a lot of really bad goals.
Okay, so the Lightning might just be that team for me where I've been okay sitting on the sideline with them for the majority of the beginning of the season. I don't know if the majority beginning of the season makes sense, but you understand what I mean. But lately, I think there's been twice now where once I have played them, and I think it was on the road against the Canucks because I thought the line was short, and then shout out Furl or somebody in here was compared it to the other teams, and it really wasn't that short, and the Canucks killed them. And then I wanted to take them against the Jets, and I didn't. But I think I even messaged you, and I was like, "You think the Lightning are a play here, or are you going to talk me off of it?" And you didn't feel confident. A lot of other people in the chat didn't feel confident, so I didn't play it. this might be a team that I just have a very, very poor read on. But I'd be lying if I said they weren't looking at me a little funny today. So I don't know that I'm going to get there with the Lightning. And also in terms of their spot, they were just on the road, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, they're on the little 3-game road trip that I told you about. They're
Yep.
playing all the teams that are real tight defensive teams, and their one win that they got out of it was playing the Wild backups with all the injuries they have.
Yep.
So, I mean, I thought it was going to be a rough road trip, and kind of was.
Yeah. So they won two. They won one of the two against Minnesota and got their shit kicked in by Boston. So they've had 2 nights off, and now they're playing the Kings. And what are the Kings up to? Let's see. So the Kings are on a little bit of a. Oh wow! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are on a 6-game road trip. They've lost 5 straight, including in Washington. Wow, they were minus 195 on the road there. They were minus 195 in Washington, and now they're minus 120 in Tampa. Is Tampa that much better than the Capitals?
I mean, they definitely get priced like it. It's like I think they still get a lot of respect because they think market-wise they're that team that's eventually going to bounce back because they have all the talent, and we've seen what they've done like the last couple of years. It's like I don't know why they're going to keep getting prices like this. They're not very good, but I think it's just fake market respect. But I will say, regardless of anything, I think the Kings look like the most obvious play on the board today, which scares me. The only reason I would even consider it is because the Kings are on that 5-game losing streak, and then they're going on the road where they're randomly so much better than they are at home for whatever reason.
The Kings are on the road?
Yeah. It's intense.
Yeah. Right. So they've been on the road. This is going to be their 2nd game.
Yeah.
And they stay on the road, it looks like, right? Then they go to Florida, Detroit. Yeah. So they're 13-3-1 on the road, 10-7 on the puck line. I agree. I mean, I think the line looks pretty short. Would this be an over that nobody sees coming?
I'm kind of shocked this total's at 6, to be honest with you.
You think it should be 6.5?
Yeah, because I mean, if in theory, like let's just say the Kings being favored by this much and catching a little bit of steam in Tampa is maybe a little strange to some people, which I don't think it is, but I would be expecting a 6.5. So like the fact that it's at 6, with as bad as the Lightning defense has been and how good the Kings have been on the road, that is a little strange to me.
I guess you're right. I mean, the Vasilevsky and the Lightning did allow 7 goals, and they allowed 4 to the Jets. We won't really count in the Wild because they're awful. Okay. Yeah, I guess fair enough. That's a good point. And this consensus on covers, showing the 59%, I don't think I'm buying that.
No.
Even though the thing is, like, when you see a team that's playing poorly like the Kings, I think the perception is probably split, right? Other people are like, oh, they're so bad, I'm going to fade him. But I think there's a large majority of people who are like, oh, they're so due for a win.
The thing is, like, in that losing streak, they haven't really been bad outside of like the Leafs game. They got shut out, I think, at home. But like other than that, like the games have been tight. They've gotten a little unlucky in some of those games. A lot of posts were hit by them in a couple of those games. Like, and then they lost in a shootout 2 of the 5. Like it's not like they've been terrible. It's a little deceiving. And I mean, tough spots like playing against Edmonton, going to Vegas, going to DC, where the Caps have been really good. So like, it's a deceiving 5 games, I would say.
No, good point. Very good point. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 of their last 6 losses have been by 1 goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree with you there. All right. For me, I'd probably have to get nasty and play the Lightning or nothing, but I think I'm going to stay away. Probably no reason to talk about the Leafs game. They are minus 450 now, according to Action. 6.5 under minus 115. The only thing I don't know if you're invested at all in the Leafs. I haven't won the President's Cup. I wasn't overly confident in that having any sort of life. They did just sign Nylander, I believe, to a big contract. But they've woken up a little bit here on this West Coast road trip. And granted, they just played the Ducks and the Sharks, 2 of the 3. But I still think for the Leafs, after this pathetic stretch, winning 3 games in a row. Oh, sorry, I thought I had the board up. Winning 3 games in a row is good for their morale. So they come home. They've got 2 nights off, and now they play the Sharks again. I would not go anywhere near the Leafs in this spot. because it kind of just feels like it could be a little bit of a sleepwalk, if anything, and plus
Yeah.
them having just played. So I'm not going to get involved. Do you have anything you like in this game?
Not side and total wise. It just feels like way too easy to take something that's going to be similar to how the game just played out on Saturday. So it was 4-1. I mean, kind of like sleepy domination game, if that could be a thing for the Leafs. But I did take Austin Matthews' assist. And yeah, there's Chaco in the comments because it was up on Saturday. They had a lot of Leafs props up on Saturday. Did not hit, and now it's up and more juice to the over. So I'm on that. That's about it,
Okay.
though.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I don't know if my guy Brian Kirstner is in here but watching. I know he's pretty court, but he is a diehard Islanders fan. Had a really nice time at UBS Arena. That was an enjoyable hockey experience. I used to kind of hate the Islanders. I don't really hate them so much anymore. If anything, I kind of like felt bad for them. I thought they were dead. Like I thought the Islanders run was done. Feels like they got a bunch of no names on there. Scott fucking Mayfield or whatever it is. But I mean, they had a really poor start to the season, and then they just went on an insane stretch and just kept fucking winning and beating good teams. So I tried to time it up and fade the Islanders here and there. Didn't go so well. Now I'd say they're kind of back and forth. Looks like they haven't won back-to-back games since December 13th. They're coming off of a 4-game road trip here. So in your typical, we call it the Malinsky special, this is probably a spot where you'd want to fade the Islanders first game back from a long road trip. And on that road trip, let's see, they lost 3 of 4. Putting up 5 goals or beating the Coyotes in Arizona 5-1 is kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Sorokin is broken. If anything, Varlamov seems to have been the better goalie. Well, maybe not so much. So I don't know what to do with the Islanders, man. They've been a team for a long time where I can't get on the right side of. But this line to me seems a little suspicious. However, I guess I'm having the wrong reads on Vancouver Canuck lines this season, but it looks like the Islanders open -130. And now there's a 10-cent move according to Action on Vancouver. That would be my fake sharp selection of the night. The money hitting Vancouver at a plus price looks a little too obvious for me because the Vancouver Canucks are one of the best teams in the NHL. It's not like they're bad on the road. They're 12-7-2, and they're coming off of back-to-back road wins, 6-4 in New Jersey, where I tried to fade them, and 6-3 against the Rangers, where RIP Brian, he texted me last night, the Rangers and Reg are a nuke. So sorry for that one. But this is a spot where I can't help myself. I want to take the fucking Islanders and fade the 10-cent move to the Canucks. You're nodding your head. I feel like you agree.
I think that's right up there with probably my favorite plays on the slate, taking the Isles. Partially because like that little, I guess you can throw the Devils into there, but usually like the New York road trip, I love to fade teams that are on a back-to-back with that. And usually it's playing the Rangers in the second game of the back-to-back, but this time it's the Islanders. So I kind of like it even better. And they dominated the Rangers last night, and they looked really damn good against the Devils on the road in the first of the 3 legs. So now you're coming in a back-to-back against the Isles. I agree with like the fake sharp move. I think the Isles, I kind of think they're like inverse Sabres this month because one of the reasons I took the Penguins and I don't believe in the Islanders is because of this stretch that's going to follow after this game for the Islanders. I think you're going to slip, but not here. I'm definitely down to fade the Canucks and definitely getting Casey to Smith, I would think, tonight too. No chance they're going to play Demko on a back-to-back. And they've been defense is considerably worse when DeSmith is in net. So I am for sure in for the Isles.
Okay. So it should be stated, though, does the line make a little bit more sense since it's no Demko and the Canucks are on a back-to-back?
I would say back-to-back. They don't really see a difference in price, or at least I haven't significantly with DeSmith and net.
Okay. Bert, real quick, I saw you commented and I just tried to scroll through quickly while still paying attention to Jovan's pitch. I did not see the Vancouver future that you sent in the Discord. Can you please bring it up here and we'll mention it? The total, Jovan, that's the last thing I wanted to ask you before we moved on in this game. It looks like 6, moved up to 6.5. Unders -115. I would think that's probably due to no Demko and net and the Canucks having just scored 6 goals in back-to-back games, do you think an under here would be a little contrarian? And any interest in the total or no?
Could be, but I think this is one of the games where I wouldn't be shocked if the Isles come out and score 5 or 6. So that
Oh,
would be my
wow.
concern. It's like I
Wow.
think if we're going to see really one of those complete games from the Isles, they're going to pepper DeSmith with shots. So that's what I would be concerned as an under better. But I will say, even with Demko net, that's another one that was kind of like looking at me like the Lightning total. I was a little surprised to see it open at 6 in the first place.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's keep moving. So that's the first 4 games on the slate. Just to recap, if anybody's late in here. Lean Sabres. Jovan likes the Sabres to score first. I think it's kind of a square under that I would probably get down on. Bert mentioned the first period under. I think I like that. The Lightning are looking at me funny, but I can't get on the right side of the Lightning. I do lean them, though. The Toronto. What was the player prop that you liked in that one? I'm sorry.
Austin Matthews assist.
Austin Matthews assist. They just played. I think the game was 4-1 or something.
4-1.
So, yeah. Islanders 130 down to 120. We both like the Islanders. And Jovan, did you say that's your favorite play on the ice tonight?
Yeah, now it is.
Okay, fantastic. I think I'm going to get down with it as well. All right. Talk to me a little bit about the Predators. Here's another interesting team. Start of the season, I felt like they had a lot of it was if it wasn't respect to the line for the Predators, it was money hitting the Predators. And I got duped a handful of times. I think I maybe played them 3 times in the first 12, 15 games of the season and got burned every single time. And then, of course, after that, they go on a fucking stretch where I think they won 6 straight games, kind of figured it out. Now they're a better team, 22-17-1 on the year, 12-10 at home. And now they're playing the Ducks. The Ducks had a great start to the season and then tailed off, and now they're 13-25 and just back being the Anaheim Ducks that we expected. So I just can't help but notice the only thing from this game is just it's kind of around that number where we like to fade or play the dog at that +1.5. I'm seeing on action that the Predators are -225, total 6.5, under -120. If I lean the under, I also lean the dog as well. If it's going to be a low scoring game, obviously, if that makes sense, you're expecting a tighter game, maybe to go to overtime and you get that +1.5. I would lean Ducks here. And I really don't know what these two teams have been up to, but I am going to pull it up. Is there anything that you like in this game?
Yeah, I'm taking the +1.5 for the Ducks, and not really because it lies within that number, but I just like them in the spot. The Preds are weird because, you look at what they've done. They're a flip-floppy team. They come to play against some of the better teams for whatever reason. Like they just beat the Stars on the road, which is definitely not something to scoff at. But then they laid an egg at home against the Flames, and they let them absolutely rip puck on Saros and put up 6 goals. And they had the obvious shutout against the Blackhawks before that and beat the Caps on the road. But then they went and they laid an egg defensively in a couple of the games before that. So this screams a spot for the Ducks for me. And the Ducks have been awful. It's not really all their fault, though, because they've been awful because they can't keep their lineup consistent, whether it's guys getting traded like just happened before this game, or you got guys in and out of the lineup for injuries or whatever it may be. So it's not like they're not fighting in these games. It would be different if it was a team that you just watch them and you're like, okay, that team is dead. They look like they don't want to be here. The Ducks, they play with a lot of heart in these games and keep them close. And again, I think the personnel is the real issue there. So now they just had another one leave in a trade just last night. So I think this is a really weird spot where they at least get the game to overtime. I wouldn't be shocked to see this one get to overtime or a shootout.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into it. I'm just looking at their recent performances too. 3-1, Jets 2-3, overtime. Got their shit kicked in by the Oilers. That's okay. Also 8 games in a row at home is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Going on the road and getting out of Anaheim might be exactly what this Ducks team needs. That's what I'll tell myself. I might get there with the Ducks +1.5. I also have no problem fading the Predators after just beating the Stars on the road. That's pretty impressive. Only concern sometimes is if a team has a pretty pathetic performance at home when they return home. I kind of wonder if they want to put on a stronger showing and a better performance. But that's more so something I consider in football where there's less games, not in a sport like hockey where there's 42.
So it's weird too because the Ducks are a pretty self-aware team when you watch them, because like they know they're not scoring with a lot of these teams. So when they get into like a team like the Preds, where like offensively they're not going to like jump off the page to you, they play very conservatively to keep themselves in a game. That's why like in this game, like the Ducks plus 1.5 seems like a pretty smart bet in my head, because I don't think they're going to really go all out on the offensive end.
Fair. Interesting note here. Granted, Bert, I would like this look ahead spot. It is interesting. The Predators just played in Dallas and won. They play the Ducks at home, and then they go back to Dallas. Very weird scheduling.
Yeah.
The only thing is it's 3 days from now. So they play on the 12th. So there's a little bit of time in between. Otherwise, though, I still like throwing that out there for sure. Yeah,
I think it's valid.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's valid. I think you see the stretch the Predators have coming up, not just the Stars game, because they go from that game, then they go straight on a back-to-back to play the Isles at home. Then they follow that up with VGK, the Kings on the road, the Yotes on the road, the Panthers at home. That is a hell of a stretch. And now you just got this weird Ducks game kind of sitting in the middle of it with a couple days rest in between. That's could be a weird, sneaky spot.
Great point. Back-to-back, road, then home. Islanders team you probably don't want to play. 3-game stretch, back home to a Panthers who are fucking wagons. Then another 3-game stretch, back home to the Kings. Jeez. Yeah, that's tough. That's very tough. I like that a lot. All right, I'm in on the Ducks. Might even have to sprinkle the money line, see if they sneak one. Here's an interesting matchup. I mean, the Florida Panthers have just been out of this fucking world. Let's see what their actual stretch has been here. So they have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. Did I count that correctly? I think so. A 7-game win streak might not be the most insane thing that you've heard of in hockey, basketball, etc. But what is so impressive to me is who the teams are that the Florida Panthers are beating. The Knights, we know the Lightning aren't very good. The Rangers, Canadians aren't very good. But in Arizona, in Vegas, in Colorado, and scoring 8 goals against the Avalanche. I mean, that's just beyond impressive. They've had 2 nights off to hang out and celebrate. I don't really think they want to stop it here. I don't know that they're a team I necessarily want to fade. The Blues can be a little sneaky at home, though. I mean, they're 12-6 at home. They're 11-7 on the puck line. I think we got them on a plus price. Who did we just play the Blues in a pretty contrarian spot? The Canucks. I think you were on that as well. I don't know if you were. It would look like a short line. They were like plus 120 or something. So I kind of feel like I've gotten my Blues unit at home at a plus price recently, and I also at the same time don't really want to fade really good teams in good stretches. I have no issue trying to time them up if you have a different read and potentially could talk me into it, but I think I'm off here. Let's see, Florida -1. See, this is what concerns me sometimes is there's just too much steam on certain teams. -160 according to Action, up to -185. So 25 cents of steam on the Panthers now. Total is 6.5. It was -115 to the under. Now it's -122. Do we get a Jordan Binnington legacy game here? Or maybe just the Panthers kind of cooling off a little bit after a couple nights off and an insane 8-game run. Also, I don't mind looking ahead to see who they have on deck next. They go home to play the Kings and then the Devils. So they have an 8-game stretch. It's their last road game until they go home for 5. Could they just be looking ahead and wanting to get back home? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't want to get in front of the Panthers right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, I mean, it would be a little different if things were different with the Blues. Like they did just beat the Panthers a couple weeks ago in Florida, and their last 2 games are 2-1 wins against the Canes and the Canucks. So, like, they're showing up against these teams right now, which I think at home they just might. Like, I wouldn't mind, like Chaco saying in the chat, could be a square under. I think that's probably what I would get behind in this as the way that the Blues are going to kind of stop the Panthers' attack and make it a little gross for a while. But I can't get in front of the Panthers right now unless I love the spot, which I really don't.
Totally agree. The one thing to note, it looks like the Panthers and the Blues have been pretty good to the under as of late.
Yeah.
Both are playing good hockey. I mean, the Blues are 7-3 in their last 10. That's impressive. And they're 2-6 to the under. I'm sorry, 2-6 to the over in their last 8. The Panthers are 2-6 to the over in their last 8. So they're going under at a higher clip. So I agree. I mean, if you're playing the under, it's pretty square, but it's also something that I would, if I was to get involved with this game, that's probably where my units would go. Yeah, I can't get contrarian or gross and fading the Panthers, so I would stay off that one entirely as well. All right, 4 games left. It was mentioned to me in a DM this morning by my guy Snacks. He said he's not going to be here because he's corp, but he did mention, and I heard them talking about this last week on VSiN, and that is the trend of the Winnipeg Jets holding their opponents under their team total. It is now 16 of 17. They've held their opponents under 2.5 goals. And the total today is 6.5. We had a good counter argument. I think Furl mentioned it in here in the stream. When is the last time you've seen a Blue Jackets game that didn't have a 6.5 total? So the Blue Jackets are always involved in games with high totals, so that does kind of offset it a little bit. But I still think it's something to note. Now, it does say that the total opens 6, according to Action Network. So it did move up, if that's accurate. Over was 6 minus 120. Now it's 6.5. The under is minus 125. And the Jets are minus 250. Look, I like the Blue Jackets. We've got a future on them. They can't hold a lead. They love to fucking blow it, or they love to lose in overtime. They've lost 9 overtime games? 9 overtime games. That is insane. For reference, the Oilers, Predators, Ducks, Panthers, and Blues have all lost 1 overtime game.
Yeah.
But the puck line, they fucking cover the puck line on the road. They're 14-4 on the road on the puck line. And you know what? We just played them recently. I think we played them. Maybe the chat can help me. When did we fucking play them? It might have been against the Flyers, or it was against the Sabres, because those teams aren't good on the puck line at home. I'd probably have to go CBJ plus 1.5 or nothing here. What about you?
Yeah, that would be the only thing I'd consider here. I'm a big, it's kind of similar thing with the Preds. Like the Jets, their defense is great, but when they have these kind of weird teams, whether it's a bottom of the barrel team or another team that's just super pesky and on any given day can just show up, they're just a weird team because they're not a team that's built to come from behind right now with all of the injuries that they have. I mean, the obvious one in the center, they've had to fill a lot of production with offensively. They're just not that team. So, if they go down early, the CBJ is in a really good spot. So, I think it's plus 1.5 or nothing.
Okay, totally agree. Couple more games left. The next one's nothing that I really have any interest in getting involved with. I mean, for whatever reason, I don't care to bet the Blackhawks unless I bet them to get a shutout. And I think the last 4 times I bet the Blackhawks get a shutout, they fucking score 1 goal. That is just all they do, especially on the road. They score 1 goal and then they do nothing else. So if you're fading the Blackhawks on the road, you're probably making some good money. At home, a little bit of a different story. I mean, they're 8-9-1 at home, if that's accurate. 11-7 on the puck line. So a little bit scrappier. So whether that's due to the Blackhawks playing better at home or just teams kind of taking their foot off the gas when they travel to Chicago, I don't really know. But the Oilers here, big price, 20-15-1. They've woken up 7-3 in their last 10. Do you want to get involved in anything here in the total? So the Edmonton's minus 430, the total 6.5. It looks like it's minus 125 to the over.
Yeah, I'll lean it over in this one because I assume we're going to get Picard in net, who is awful. No Skinner tonight. That's what I would think for the Oilers with this game in Chicago. And like you said, I wouldn't be dabbling in any goal activity from the Blackhawks if they weren't in Chicago. That's the only thing. I think they're going to be a little pesky maybe early in this game, and then Edmonton's just going to blow them out of the water. I think it's going to be like a 6-2, 6-3 type game. So, I mean, if you want to lay the juice on the Oilers, minus 1.5, whatever that may be, sure. Lay piece,
Okay.
whatever you want to call it. But I think we see goals.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, somebody asked, is BTL 12:30 or 2 today?
2.
2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So is Trent out this week?
Yeah, they're in the some island, maybe the Bahamas.
Oh, he's in the Bahamas. I saw that tweet yesterday. What is he just on vacation, or is he there for content?
You tell me. I don't know. I think it's a vacation, but I'm not 100% sure.
Gotcha. Good for him. Okay, Ducks just won outright, but they are definitely covering. First period over. I think Jovan said if anything, he likes it to start slow and then the scoring to open up. So I don't know that I would get cute with the first period. All right, 2 more games, and curious to hear what you think about this, because the Bruins to me are a funky team. They're never fun to fade. But I have this thing where every time I see the Bruins at what I feel is a short price on the road, always feel like you're kind of getting duped. My spot to always bet on the Bruins is in Buffalo. Like, I know the Buffalo Sabres have always been, not always, I'm sorry, recently been a little bit of a trendy team. And when you see a short line on the Bruins, people always want to snipe the Sabres at a plus price and get cute. That's where the Bruins stuff them in a locker. I kind of feel the same way here. And the reason why is I know the Coyotes are thought of as being I would say, an inferior team to my comparison, the Sabres, maybe not so much this year, but just overall. But at home, I don't think people are that apprehensive on betting the Coyotes at a plus price. So now you're seeing what I think is a little bit of respect in a short line to Boston. They're minus 155 according to Action, down to minus 150. Totals at 6. Under was minus 120. Now it's minus 115. They're 12-5-4 on the road. 13-8 on the puck line on the road are the Sabres, and Coyotes are 12-8 at home. Do you have any reason to get involved in this game?
I don't think I'm going to do it personally, but I will say it might seem a little easy to take the Yotes, but this little road trip too, I kind of look at it the same as the New York road trip. It's really tough to go from Colorado to Arizona, which is why a lot of the teams who have done it, like the Lightning did it earlier this season. And yes, the Lightning are not the Bruins, but they struggled in it, and a lot of teams have too. So like, that's not something that I want to just throw by the wayside. So like, I can't fault anybody for playing the Yotes today, and I think it is the Yotes today, but I've taken a lot of coin from Bruins games in the past couple of weeks, so I'm not screaming to get involved with the Yotes home wagon. But again, that road trip from Colorado to Arizona is really, really tough, and it's been tough to a lot of teams this season.
Yeah, and it looks like it's on a back-to-back too. I think the Bruins
they played the Avs last night in OT too, or I guess a shootout.
I think this is going to be a really obvious spot to fade the Bruins.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm not going to talk anybody off of it necessarily because there's a reason it would make sense. Plus, the Coyotes have been at home. Well, they really have been not playing well. They're an interesting team. They're quite streaky. I mean, they won. Let's see, back here they won 5 in a row. Then they lose 4 in a row. Then they win.
They have gotten blasted their last 3 games at home, though.
Yeah, they have. And you know what else they've done? They've not been going over the total. Oh, I take that back. Sorry, the Jets scored 6 goals. I mean, they are just not scoring goals.
No, not at all.
So, and let's see, the Bruins have been a little bit more of an over team, going over 5 of their last 6. Yeah, they're doing most of the scoring too in that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do it. I see the reason why to try the plus price and fading the Bruins. Linus Left Frill says Linus Legacy. Real Nicky Gamble says Bruins puck line. I'd probably, my hockey brain says to go that route. Sports better in me, I'm definitely down to get a little nasty contrarian and fade them, but I think it's actually a bit of a duping. So I like the Bees. Like the under, first period under. Okay. Yotes totals too unpredictable. They go 2-1 or both teams score 5 in the third. Bees pumped Yotes already. Think this is a tight, low scoring game. Okay, fair enough. Not going to get involved. Sounds like you don't really love anything either, so we can pass that game. All right, last one on the board. I hope I'm fucking right about the Senators, man. I took them in season to miss the playoffs at a pretty steep number. I think it was like minus 160, 170. They're 14-21. The only concern is they haven't played a lot of hockey. So they've got, 4 or 5 games up on everybody, which is going to make me sweat a little bit, I feel like. But it's just a team kind of like the opposite. I don't know if you've already heard me say this before, but I was saying in the stream last week, when I was watching the Devils, I think it was last year, and I noticed a few games in, I was like, man, they're getting a lot of respect. Like when they're favorites by 20, 30 cents more than I would have expected them to be. And when they're dogs, it was much shorter and tighter. But I felt like the Devils, when I watched them, they were fast. They're young. They're fun. They really didn't have great goaltending, but like when I watch them skate, I was like, all right, this is a team that's an actual threat. When I watch Ottawa, and I've seen them in person, I've watched them play a handful of times on TV. They just don't really scare me. They don't impress me. And they also don't really look like a cohesive team. They don't look like they like each other. They also already fired their head coach, I believe. So I think they had their little moment, but it's already kind of cooled off. I think like every time you look at this and you look at covers and you're like, oh, you see the line, you see the majority of the percentage, which is a consensus of, people that would pick that team to win, and the line's not moving or it's moving to Ottawa. I feel like I've seen this for half a season on the Senators, and they've got 21 losses. Like, I just kind of feel like they are constantly fake sharp, whatever you want to call it. I just don't think they're a good team, but they get respect for whatever reason. Like, there's something there in the odds makers or pro bettors that respect the Senators. So maybe they turn it around. Terrible on the road, 4-11 on the road. They're okay on the puck line. I would honestly, just as my hockey brain, I would just blindly fade the Senators. But the Calgary Flames are the fucking Flames. And I don't know that I want any late night piss. So they're minus 135, total 6.5. Looks like the over was juiced a little bit more earlier in the day. Now it's come down to minus 115. You have anything you like in this game?
Think I'm going to do it one more time. Take the Sens.
Oh, God.
Because look, they're ass, and they certainly look like the furthest thing from a cohesive unit. But what I have been a little bit impressed with over the past week or so is that you watch them, you're not impressed with what they're doing offensively, but now they've at least started to rip puck, which is huge. So a lot of the games they've run into in the last couple weeks, they've frankly gotten fucked by a lot of really good goalie performances. Like Stuart Skinner was fantastic in that Oilers game. They ran into the Joey Decord wagon in Seattle, which nobody's been able to beat right now. And they still ripped, I think, 33 shots on goal on net against a pretty solid, good defensive Kraken team right now. In Vancouver, they fell victim to their own goalie situation. In Buffalo, Levi was fantastic in that game and made a couple ridiculous saves. So, they're ripping, and at some point in this little stretch of the next couple of games, it's going to come to a head. And the fact that I think we see a high scoring game in Calgary tonight too, which is not typical you would think with this matchup, but this is a pretty heavy juice 6.5 over, which I was a little surprised to see with the capability of the Flames to kind of keep everything tight. And they haven't been the greatest defensive team at times when they've felt some good matchups. But you look at those games, they're the ones against the teams that you aren't really expecting to be very competitive on the road because they've been bad on the road. Look at the Flyers game on the road there. It's just a lot of these teams they match up with really well has been kind of coming to a head. So I think on paper they would match up pretty well with the Senators, but I don't know. This seems like a really weird spot for the Sens. They're sharp every game, but at least I can count on them ripping puck. That's what they've been doing lately.
Yeah, I haven't checked daily face-off for the starting goalies, but if you think it's going to be Markstrom, I would have to imagine
it's going to be Markstrom. I'll tell you what, too, because I also think that the Flames are going to rip on, or the Sens are going to rip a lot on Markstrom. So, if we're talking, this feels very similar to Carter Hart last night, where I think the Pens are going to rip a lot on him, and that would be a saves prop I consider. I have a couple guys that I'm looking through goalie-wise, and he'd probably be one of them because the way the Sens are ripping puck right now is impressive. It's not come to anything yet, but again, that's the one thing you can count on the last couple weeks.
Okay. I can get down with that. I can get down with Markstrom saves. I've got the Flames over point total, and I strictly did that so I wouldn't have to bet them on a night-to-night basis. And obviously, so this is a big game for me in terms of my future bets, so I'm going to stay off of a side. I think I'm going to get down with Markstrom over saves. I need something to pair with Gogo Patats over a half a steal tonight in Prize Picks. So that's probably what I'll do then. And if you look at the NBA board and you like anything in the Wolves Magic game, let me know later because I'm going.
I'm not gonna kind of screams Wolves.
I know. I kind of feel like it screams Wolves too, especially because the Magic returned home from a long road trip after beating the Nuggets and fucking beat the Hawks in OT. Yeah. I kind of think they get the gas hit. It depletes from their tank tonight, unfortunately. I like the under in it as well. Okay. So also, the one thing I want to mention that just to co-sign your Senators play for tonight, it is a spot where, first game back from a long road trip for the Flames too. So even more of a reason. And the Senators have already kind of been on the road. It looks like, let's see. Yeah, they've already played 3 games on the road and they've had 2 nights off. All right, man. Good stuff. Just a quick little recap here. Sabres to score first. Lean Lightning, probably not going to touch it. You like Austin Matthews' assist. We both like the Islanders. We'll be on the Islanders tonight. I'll make sure to let Brian Kirshner know, but he's going to be ecstatic. Going to be on the Ducks plus 1.5. Square under in St. Louis for the Panthers and Blues. I like that. CBJ, I kind of would just tail this +1.5, puck line wagon that they are 14-4 in the season. No harm in that. Although kind of counters it if you want to not do it because the Jets are 14-6 on the puck line as well. So if they beat teams, could be one of those things where they suffocate them. They're up by a goal. They get an empty netter in the last minute or so. Probably stay off that. You like the over in Chicago. Not going to touch the Bees, Coyotes, and you like the Senators tonight. You're going to do it again. I can't talk you off of it, and I'm going to be playing Markstrom saves for my prize picks. Here we go. Jay Marsh, this is the Penguins guy. Predators 8-2 money line at home games versus Anaheim. Islanders 5-0 to the overs versus Vancouver in their last 5. Interesting. Maybe an Islanders team total. I wouldn't mind that. Jets are 14-6 though. Yep, just pointed that out, Chaco. Thank you very much. Jovan, thank you very much for your time, man. I love talking puck with you.
Of course. Are you dipping into college basketball at all today?
I planned on it. Have you taken a look at the board? I mean, I'm happy to have you hang out and we can I know these motherfuckers are chomping at the bit to discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, I got some time today. Later start.
Okay.
So maybe if you want to go over it, sure.
Yeah. I've got some time as well. So I was going to pivot over. I don't have anything till 3:30. So I was actually going to pivot over there. I was just going to not force you to hang out and talk about it. But yeah, I mean, instead of going game by game, if you want to, why don't you just take me to what you've got your eyes on? Also, I've got a piss. So I'll let you have the floor for a minute.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay.
There's a couple of Big 12 games that I'm definitely looking at. I guess the big one everybody wants to talk about is Baylor BYU today. Wherever that one's at. I guess Iowa State too, but
there we go. How's this one right here? Baylor BYU?
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I got you. Chat. What are we thinking in Baylor BYU before I speak? Just before I speak, I want to see where you guys' heads are at. The Degenerate Milk's crazy. Houston hasn't been on the road since Nam. Take ISU. Baylor. BYU. Some love. Got on the BYU train, period, but not today. Not today. I like Baylor, and it's like half basketball brain play. Really, a lot of basketball brain play. Because I'll tell you what, BYU has been the problem with them, I guess you could say. Because they just lost to Cincy, and they kind of got exposed in that game because all they shot were threes. They could not go to the rim to save their lives, and that's going to be a problem. Because like Baylor is, as much as they want to play up tempo, and like you would think on paper, that's a team that you're going to go up and down the floor, shoot a lot of threes. That hasn't been the case necessarily because they've been one of the better teams with 3-point defense in all of the Big 12, but like in the country too. So like if Baylor or if BYU is super one-dimensional at Baylor, I think that's going to be a problem. I really do think it's going to be a problem. So like I like Baylor -3.5.
So I am curious. I didn't hear any of your pitch. I'm not going to make you repeat it, but just from a future standpoint, I remember somebody, I don't know if it was Cornfields or somebody else, sent me some screenshots of odds discrepancies and advised potentially a long shot play on BYU to win it all. I think they were maybe like 60-1 or something like that. I don't know if that sounds right. Maybe it was 80-1. I don't know, but I guess they were getting respect. And this was a couple weeks ago. Are they a team that is legitimate? Like, do you think they could make a run, or do you think they're kind of overperforming? I heard you say you don't like them tonight, so that might be some sort of indication.
I think they're legit, but I don't think good enough futures wise to invest in them because they're starting to get exposed a little bit. Because like the last couple games, they're like they only shoot threes, which is part of the problem. So like today, part of the reason I said I love Baylor is one of the best 3-point defenses in the country. So like that's why BYU lost to Cincinnati in a game that they realistically shouldn't have kept very close. They're going to get exposed by good 3-point defenses, which the Big 12, when you have Houston, you have Kansas, you have even like Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. There's a lot of good ones. So like they're going to be one of those teams, maybe like not as good as a Kansas State, but you remember how I talked about last year? There's those teams in the Big 12 that just because the league is so good, they're not going to seem like they're doing all that much in the regular season until you see them against like cross-conference competition. They're probably one of those teams. So like if they get into March, I would look out for a run, but futures-wise, I don't know if I would feel great investing in them.
Okay, and I just have one last question about this game. Do you think the line is short?
No.
Okay. So no concern or anything there. Oh, well, I guess, I mean, Baylor is 12-2, although they're 8-0 at home, but BYU doesn't have really much action on the road, huh? They played at Utah and they lost by 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their home court advantage is huge. BYU's is. It's like
Mm.
that's what keeps them around and probably will against like the better teams in the Big 12.
I'm not trying to get too cute, but would you co-sign a Baylor first half play?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just kind of like taking advantage of teams that this deep in the season have not played many games on the road, and I just kind of think that they could get their ass kicked early. But
yeah, I don't know if you are familiar with it too, but Baylor just got a new arena that they unveiled like a week maybe ago, and it's built to be super small, and like the seats are like it goes up vertically, so the seats are like on top of the court. So like the new home court advantage is going to be like serious for Baylor. It's like a crazy like elite high school gym.
no, I'm not. I honestly, I don't even know where Baylor is. I know it's in Texas.
It's in Waco. It's in like
Wait.
in between like the drive to Dallas and Houston.
Okay, what is that drive? Like 4 hours?
3.5, yeah, just
Oh,
about.
okay. Houston is west of Dallas, right?
No,
Oh.
southeast.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I was way off. Southeast. Okay, so Waco is in between that. Gotcha. All right, I love it. My only connection to Baylor basketball is I got a last second vibe that they were going to beat the shit out of Gonzaga in the championship, and I fell in love with Davion Mitchell, and that was great. So yeah, he's an absolute dog. So I am. Anytime anybody tells me to take Baylor, I'm not gonna hesitate. Any
Baylor
other
Baylor and TCU are huge rivals too. So if I'm taking Baylor, I got to feel good about it.
Good point. All right, cool. Did you have some other Big 12 matchups tonight that you liked?
Yeah, I think I want to get involved in almost every game, to be honest with you.
But
I do want to hear what you have to say about some of these games. There's definitely the glaring line on the board, I would say, for the entire college basketball slate is Houston, Iowa State today.
Okay, before we go there, can I just tell you one thought I'm having right now as I'm looking at this Duke-Pittsburgh line?
Let's see it.
I think I want to bet on Duke. And the reason I want to bet on Duke is because they were just 14.5 against Notre Dame, and I think they won the game by 4 or 3. Didn't really have a chance. I don't know if they ever had a lead by more than 6-7 points. And now they're against Pittsburgh, and I feel like Pittsburgh gets respect, even though they're not ranked, but they're pretty good at home. They're 7-3. Well, I guess they're only 5-5 ATS. They just had a 13-point win. Let's see. So their last game at home, they lost to UNC by 13. So I don't know. Maybe I'm off here, but I was thinking more, I guess not even so much about Pitt, but backing Duke on the road after they just failed to cover. They are 0-3 ATS on the road. Do you have any quick thoughts on that one?
Yeah. I can't. I'm not there with trusting Duke on the road yet. I'll be honest with you. I know they're going to be due for a cover at some point, but they're just so young and haven't shown it yet. Plus, Pitt has been on the back end of a couple of fake sharp spots where I think last time out when we all took them against UNC, they were 4.5 and didn't cover and got dominated for a majority of that game. So I don't know. Maybe this is the spot. I'll tell you what else stands out to me on the board. You see that Notre Dame total moving up 3 points?
That's wild. That's absolutely wild.
That makes no sense to me.
Well, the only way it would make sense, maybe you already know this before I have to look. I mean, I guess Georgia Tech sees totals sometimes they see 140s.
Yeah, it's like it's on the lower end. Like Georgia Tech scores, but they also play to their opponent. The thing is, like, they just haven't played many slow tempo, can't score opponents yet. It's like the fact that they have one at Notre Dame and the total's still moving up with Notre Dame. I don't even know if they've seen like 120 in their last couple of games, not total wise, but like eventual score.
So I guess my one thought is if the total's moving up, Notre Dame just covered and played their ass off against Duke.
I mean, I think they're going to get the shit beat out.
I was just going to say that. Don't you think Georgia Tech fucking rolls?
Yeah. I mean, I like Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I like Georgia Tech a lot too. It looks like Georgia Tech is 5.5 to 6.5. And the total is, in fact, 131.5 up to 134.5 now. Under is slightly juiced, minus 114. Yeah, I would probably get there with Georgia Tech. And I almost think I'd like that more than the over, so you don't have to rely on Notre Dame quite as much. Not sure how you feel about it, but that's a good eye.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go over in that game, but I think it's going to fall out just the same. Georgia Tech probably scoring 80, just dominating.
Okay. All right, cool. And so the game that you had mentioned was Iowa State. Let's see where I can find that. Oh, wow. Oklahoma State and Texas Tech play today. Jeez, we got a good little
It's a
call.
really good slate.
Holy shit. Okay,
Yeah, so
awesome.
I mean, these two games on the top of the screen are probably the most obvious. Pick them out. Something looks weird with this line plays. So I mean, I want to hear what your thoughts are, first impressions.
Well, my first thought initially is 2.5 points for Iowa State seems short. But then the concern I have that I always have is when you look at a team's record, that's one thing, but then you look at their home record and they're 9-0 at home and they're 7-1-1 ATS at home. So they cover spreads. So I feel like there's a bit of a liability there for the books to be like, okay, well, we can't, as good as Houston is, they've only played one road game. So you can't give too many points to a team like Iowa State, who plays well at home and covers spread. So it looks like this opened 4.5 according to Action. It's down 2 points. Now I was wrong about this comparison because the last one was Marquette, I think in Seton Hall, but the two before that I think I was right on. I can't remember the second one, but it was Purdue at Maryland, and then it was UConn. I think UConn ended up winning by 7. I forget who they played. It initially, I'm not saying it's anything that I love by any means, but it gives me that feeling a little bit of it makes sense why money would be hitting Iowa State. But of course, a 14-0 second-ranked Houston team only having to win by 3 points certainly feels a little trappy. Or I can't even imagine the money line. It's probably 130. So that feels a little baitish to me. And I have a feeling you're going to say you lean Iowa State.
I do, and part of the reason I'm sticking around to it is for two things. One, Iowa State on the road got a really short line this weekend in a game that was almost like watching Sabres Penguins, because it was a game that they were playing really well in. Like, if you watch the game, they probably should have won by 10, but they lost on the road against Oklahoma, and they were also plus 2.5 in that game. And now we see it at home, which you can argue maybe it's a justified respect with how they've played at home, even though they haven't played anybody. But I don't know, back-to-back games with that same kind of closing line after they were fake sharp the first time, and now it looks like a big play against Houston. That's what's keeping me around. Also, like, I hate fading Kelvin Sampson because no team really goes into Houston or goes to play Houston and is like ready for it, because defensively they're at like such a different level like every single year than a lot of other teams. Iowa State and like their play style kind of fits because like they play that game. They just don't do it as well like year to year. So like that's kind of what's keeping me around and thinking that they're going to hang in that game. So like I lean Iowa State. I'm not sure that I'm going to get to the counter with it yet, but kind of in.
Fair enough. Any thoughts on the total? If it's 132 down to 131.5. The only thing I know about Houston is their defense is incredible. But I mean, they've gone, let's see, in the last 5 games, they're 3-2 to the over. They've scored 89, 81, 72, 70, and 89. But they've also played a bunch of really nobodies. Penn, Texas State. Well, Texas A&M, I guess, isn't that bad. I don't know how West Virginia is this year. I'm assuming
Awful.
Dreadful. Yeah. It's hard for it not to be Iowa State today, especially after a loss against Oklahoma. So I'm totally with you. And
somebody said in chat, sorry to cut you off, but it's also a blizzard in Iowa right now. Could be like your USF vibe play going up north, because Houston's not going up north to a super blizzard.
Yeah, but doesn't Texas see? I mean, like, I love that. It's like, imagine you college kids who go to school in Tampa, getting off of a plane and going to play basketball in fucking Hofstra and Long Island. I just can't even imagine they have the right mindset. The only thing about Houston is, doesn't Texas get pretty cold, or does it get just as cold as Florida? You get like 40 a couple days in February.
Yeah, we get like this. I think it's like 35 outside right now, but like Houston, I don't think gets nearly as cold because they're further south, and it's grosser there. But like, you think it's cold in Texas until you go up north, and it's just like, okay, this is different.
Somebody said the blizzard might hurt Iowa State because it could hurt the crowd.
No.
I think those motherfuckers in Iowa probably got
that helps the crowd.
Segways with snow plows in front of it, so I'm sure they're going to be fine.
Iowa State, when they have like weird games where nothing else is going on, which that's a majority of their games because they're in Ames, Iowa, but they show up no matter what.
Yeah, fat girls. There ain't nothing else to do. Bro. I would be fucking strapping tennis rackets to my feet and figuring out a way to get to that college basketball stadium. All right, so you like Iowa State? Can you, while we're here, I know it's a Big 12 team. It's not necessarily big. Oh wait, is Cincinnati the Big 12 now?
They are, yeah.
Okay, and if you have to dip at any time, feel free. But
Yeah,
these games are kind of jumping out to me. We have to talk about an unranked favorite against a ranked opponent. Granted, Texas is just sitting there at 25. The one thing I have noticed, and it's been doing pretty well for me as of late, these 4.5 home favorites have not been doing so well. So I've targeted, I think 4.5 point dogs at home, starting back to Tennessee Martin. I don't know if you remember that game. I can't remember their opponents, so never mind. But they cover and they tend to win outright. The only one that didn't as of late was Ryder. I think Ryder blew a fucking lead. They got outscored by like 16 points in the second half recently. And they lost by 4, so they covered. So my brain, because of that, having paid attention to the spreads, I wouldn't get contrarian here, and I'd probably just lay it with Texas. Also, makes a little bit of sense to me because, again, I always look at the home and road splits, as I'm sure you do as well. Cincinnati's fucking 10-0 at home. Now, they're not great ATS. They're 5-5 ATS, but Texas has only played one road game. This could be a potential spot where, like I was saying with Baylor, maybe Baylor crushed them in the second half. First half. I would have a little bit more confidence maybe in a team like Texas waking up, coming back, maybe playing it close. I don't know if it might be a live play or something like that, unless I'm getting too cute. Maybe just I would lean Texas. Do you have any qualms about that? I'm assuming you might know one or both of these teams more than I do.
Yeah, I definitely lean Texas. I think Texas, first of all, I think they suck. So I think it's going to be justified down the line, like when you see lines like this. But right now they are a ranked team as an underdog in this game. But they just had a massive lost by double digits at home to Texas Tech, who realistically nobody really thinks they're very good either, and they're probably not. And then Cincinnati just beat BYU, who is everybody's new shiny toy in the Big 12 coming into the season, and they dominated them on the road. So, I don't think the line's as weird as kind of make it out to be. I could see a Cincinnati win and no cover, but if I'm betting on any team to have a bigger bounce back on the road, like Texas is filled with, frankly, a lot of guys who have been there, done that before. So it feels like a sneaky spot, I guess you could say, for Texas, especially like they have this game. This is really like a standalone big game, which you really don't have like games off in the Big 12, but they have a game going to West Virginia where, yes, it's a tough road trip, but they've been god awful this season. Then they play UCF. So it's a little week of reprieve, I guess you could say. So I kind of think that this is a game where you got to throw shit to the wall. And this has got to be everything for Texas.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm good with it. Also, I can't help but notice George Mason is also that 4.5 number, 13-2, 9-0 at home against VCU's 8-7, and I don't even know if they played a road game, so that's kind of interesting to me. I don't want to take up your time on games that aren't worth a shit. Do you want to talk Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, or do you have another
Big
12 matchup?
We can talk Oklahoma State.
Okay. Texas Tech has been a pretty good team for me as of late. I've noticed them having some big spreads, and I've attacked them on the first half. I think Sam Houston State kind of felt like that was going to be a bloodbath. And then one or two more earlier in the year. It looks like, I guess they didn't start the year so well, but lately they've been covering some spreads. That's right. So they covered 2 in a row, big numbers. Before that, they failed to cover 13.5 and 13. So now they're laying a really interesting number. This 8.5 number for me, I was asking my chat last week if anybody's been monitoring like how these 8.5 point favorites have been doing. And I think for the most part, they've said they've been doing quite well. It seems like a little bit of respect to me, both teams being unranked, but the only reason I say that is because I feel like Oklahoma State as a basketball brand still carries some weight and respect, unless I could be totally wrong about that. I've always felt Oklahoma State played some ugly basketball. Their unders would be always something that I targeted last year. So 138 on that note, 138.5 down to 135.5 is catching my eye. But Texas Tech is very good, 12-2, 8-0 at home, but they're 4-4 ATS. I don't really know. I can't tell you that I have a strong lean here outside of the under, unless it might be too late to the party and too sharp. Do you have anything you like?
Yeah, I kind of like the under, and I definitely lean Oklahoma State, kind of playing off like the same I think a little bit of an overreaction from Texas Tech just going to Texas and shellacking them by double digits. And Oklahoma State, I mean, they were competitive too. They took Baylor to overtime at home. It's just like Baylor Oak State is one of those games that's just always finds some way to be close, no matter how good the teams are, no how bad the teams are. And Texas Tech, Oklahoma State is kind of one of those games too. So maybe it seems a little telling that it's an 8.5 line, you could argue, but I think they keep it relatively close on the road. Just make it as a gross game. Like I wouldn't be surprised to look up and see this one come the end of the game be in the 60s. It's like I don't know. I definitely know Oak State. I don't know if I'm going to get there though.
Yeah, I think I'm okay laying this under. So I'm seeing here Oklahoma State, they've seen totals in 146, 144 in the 140s, and it looks like Texas Tech sees totals in the last 4 games 140 or higher. There's 139, and they tend to go over. So, it's not like it's I guess basically what I'm getting at is like the steam on this under isn't so obvious for me.
Yeah,
138.5 kind of feels right. I could see, that number being set to try to get 50-50 action, not like it's super contrarian or like, like a duping by any means, too low or too high. And smart money's hitting the under, and it's kind of just something where I would align with in a basketball brain. Sounds like you would as well. So yeah, I might chase it a little bit. I could get down on that full game under 135.5. Anything else? I see. Is Texas A&M in the SEC in basketball, or is that next year?
Yeah, SEC.
Okay. No, wait. I'm sorry. They've been in the SEC. What team is going to the SEC? Oh, Oklahoma's going to the SEC.
Oklahoma and Texas. Yeah,
and Texas, right? And they're doing that in basketball as well.
Yeah, it's starting. I think at the end of the basketball season.
Gotcha. That's
or maybe it's start of football season because I guess baseball would be excluded. It's probably in the fall.
Fair enough. All right. Any other matchups?
I mean, I do want to get your thoughts on also in the Big 12. Coincidentally, Kansas State West Virginia game.
Oh, Kansas State. So Kansas State is a team that I thought I've had a pretty good read on with totals. And I don't know if you remember, but there was one, I want to say they played, I'll pull it up here and say, was it Charlotte? Oh no, Chicago State. And this was great. I'm glad I pointed that out because the Chicago State total was like so fucking low. 136.5. Yeah. And you see these totals for Kansas State games. I mean, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 games where the totals were 155 or higher. So I thought 136. I was like, holy shit. I mean, sure, Chicago State's probably bad, but 20 points less bad. So I think I did that first half under. And then you pointed out Chicago State had a back-to-back against Oklahoma State. So that was a double dipper because then we played Oklahoma State in the first half. So that was excellent. Then I faded Kansas State, like some fucking, for whatever idiot reason. I saw Kansas State. I think they were 4.5 up to 5. And I willingly faded the steam with UCF. This is probably one of my worst bets of the entire season, except for Army first half. I know everybody remembers that, one of my PODs. Lost by 25, never even ended. Kansas State, they kind of scare me. I mean, they're just like a team that I sort of respect. I feel like they are relentless offensively. Looks like, let's see. So they've won, or no, I'm sorry. What's their overall record? So they're 11-3. Again, it's one of these weird things where teams play 14 games, but they've only been on the road for one true road game, I guess. Can we find out which one that is? Looks like it was LSU. Is that right? At LSU. Yeah, I guess that's right. That's their one true road game, and they beat the piss out of them. So they're against West Virginia, who is terrible, 5-9, 5-4 at home. So their only wins come at home. I mean, this looks incredibly short to me. My contrarian braid would lead me to play West Virginia here. And I can tell you, as a sports bettor, I don't know who is going to fade Kansas State after what they just did to UCF. And it doesn't look like West Virginia is any fun to bet on because they're 3-7 ATS in their last 10. So am I kind of aligned with where you're going with this, or are you going to not overthink it and go with what's clearly the better team at a short price?
Yeah, the one thing I probably would just stay off it, but it just happened last time West Virginia played, which we took Houston on Saturday because I can't tell you how many times I've seen a 20-point spread in the Big 12, and Washington was minus 21. Or not Washington, Houston was minus 21 on Saturday, and they won by 34. It was 89-55. So like that was easily one of the more dominant performances I think I've seen in the Big 12 in probably the past decade, and West Virginia was on the other side of it. And they're also coming into this game a little shorthanded too. So the fact that it's plus 1.5, plus 2.5, whatever you're seeing now, I think that's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
But you think it's not worth getting involved?
No, I kind of do.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought the first thing you said was I might stay off of it.
I was like I would probably stay off if West Virginia just wasn't on the end of one of the most lopsided games that we've seen in the Big 12 in a while on Saturday. It's like I think I'm going to have to. And I don't know what chat's talking about with Jesse Edwards being out. He's been out. He hasn't played in like a month.
Oh, okay.
Like it's not new news. But I would love if it was, but it's not new news.
Caleb Coffey. Let's see. Dilgod, shout out for the sub bang, by the way. You are a 7-monther. Okay, W's. Caleb Coffey says KSU relies on the 3. Don't shoot the 3 great on the road. WVU is getting healthy and get this one at home. Okay. I mean, I think I'm good with it. It looks like yep. Oh, and Stakes flight is officially delayed out of Houston to Orlando. I'm going to tell him it wouldn't surprise me if your flight was canceled. So Stake might not be making it courtside of the Magic game, but I will enjoy his tickets. Okay, sorry, just had to respond to him real quick. Okay. So as of right now, I got to tell you, this feels like the grossest play on the board. I haven't looked at the entire board, but taking West Virginia tonight has to be the toughest pill. I mean, am I right?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, they've looked awful.
Yeah. Okay. And again, you can cut me off at any time. I probably have to wrap it up here maybe in about 15 minutes or so. I'd love to maybe just chat a handful more games with you if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to where was this game? Sorry, I'm just scrolling real quick. Oh, here we go. Back to the Texas A&M game, who I thought was in the Big 12. Okay. I'd like to get your thoughts on Auburn because I am tailing you. You pointed out Auburn to win the SEC to me. I don't know, maybe a first handful of games in the season, first 5-6 games in the season, something to keep an eye on. But simultaneously, I think you also mentioned that Florida is a team worth respecting, at least not necessarily in the futures market, but like game by game. So I was a little unsure. About it. I didn't jump in at the time. But then I did watch Auburn play, I think, for a half. And I liked what I saw. And that's really all it takes for me. Like if I like what I see, I'm in, I'll throw money at it. And so I think I got him at 4-1 to win the SEC. I'm okay with it. They're fucking wagons. I mean, they're 12-2. They're 7-0 at home straight up. They're not that great ATS, 3-3-1. So now they're playing a 9-5 Texas A&M team. The total looks pretty high, although from what I understand with Auburn, they score. So I'm going to look at Texas A&M and see. Maybe that makes a little sense. It looks like it's moved down half a point. Texas A&M is 9-5, 2-1 on the road, 2-1 ATS on the road. It looks like, just according to covers, there's some, reverse line movement, we'll call it, towards Texas A&M. That 8 spread is something that, again, I said I would monitor. I haven't really done a good job of it, but that 8.5 number always really scares me because it's like the team can be in control, by 11, 12, 13 points. And then they just kind of take their foot off the gas in the last fucking minute and a half of the game. And you get fucked with a backdoor. So in these spots, if I like the favorite, I do try to get a little cute and maybe take like a team total or a first half spread or something like that. Is there any reason to get involved with this Auburn team? I just want to confirm the line. Yeah, it does look like 8.5 down to 7.5, and the 7.5 on Texas A&M is juiced, so it might move even more. And the total has moved down a full point, 148.5 to 147.5. Any thoughts on this game?
I will say the line probably screams Texas A&M. I'm not going to lie, but I've made a rule, and not just because I'm an Auburn investor now, but I've done it, I think, once, maybe twice this year in non-conference. I refuse to fade Auburn in the jungle. Absolutely refuse. It's one of the best home courts in all of college basketball, and for whatever reason, they play so much better at home. Their defense is unreal. You just watch them. They're such a complete different team at home and on the road, and now they look even better on the road, I guess. But Texas A&M is banged up. They just got shit pumped by a really mid LSU team by 15 points at home. So like I would be lying if I told you that it didn't make absolutely zero sense that the line's moving towards them and may move even further. So I'm not going to say anything there. It could be a big fake sharp spot, but I'm just staying so far away.
Okay, no reason to get involved. The only question I have is if you say A&M has been banged up, do you think this could be a sign that one of their players is healthy and potentially playing?
It could be. It could be. I'm not too familiar with their updated injury situation, but
Okay.
I know a lot of the guys that are even playing are banged up and hurt and have been playing through stuff. So that's a little more what I was alluding to. But yeah, they do have guys in and out of the lineup.
Okay, I hear you. I won't hold you to knowing being 100% on top of the Texas A&M injury report, but thanks for giving me your best guess. All right, so there was a game that somebody had asked what you think about Wake Forest, and I am a little curious if you have any thoughts because Florida State is a team that I don't know if I've bet a game with Florida State involved this season, and Florida State is a team for me the past few years. Like I've always respected them. Respect their coach, but every time I play them, it's in like the fucking ACC tournament or it's in the March Madness, and I watch them, and it's a team that makes the worst decisions and has like 15 turnovers in the first half, and I just regret having money on them, and I never want anything to do with them. But I feel like in the regular season, I don't know, maybe they play a little bit looser. They can score some points. I mean, they're 8-6. Doesn't look like it's a good FSU year. 6-3 at home, 4-5 ATS at home. But this line just looks a little short at first glance. Wake Forest is 11-3. Doesn't look like they're ranked. 9-1 in their last 10. Doing well against the spread overall, but only 1-1 on the road and 1-1 ATS. It looks like, I don't know if that's accurate, that line move, so I'm going to confirm it real quick. Wake Forest, are they seeing a move? Let's see. They are indeed seeing a move 2.5 to 3.5, but that 3.5 for Florida State is still juiced at -115, and the total is also accurate, dropping 2 points. Do you have any thoughts on this game?
So Wake is another one of my teams that I've been like super high on since the start of the season. They're like my college basketball Reds almost. But
Wow.
so saying this is I'm really biased in talking about them like a little bit. I try to avoid it as much as possible, but I love that team. Like I think you should get involved with watching them at some point. But they've been so good and they're getting healthier, and they've been doing this whole 11-3 start is without their best player who hasn't played the whole season. And yes, absolutely glued. But they have dogs. So like they have a bunch of guys that can just go out there and get buckets. And frankly, like FSU, I say this all the time, they are a football team playing basketball. So like Wake wants to get into like a track meet with them, and they're probably going to let them. So like on the road here, like the only thing that I'm worried about is it's a really weird spot because they have UVA coming into Wake on Saturday, so maybe like they're looking forward to that game. FSU team's been pretty putrid, so maybe a look ahead. But like this is a team that I think like is going to let Wake play their game. So I'd love to see how they play tonight. I think it's Wake minus the 3.5 here. Personally, again, don't know if that's one that I'm going to necessarily get to the counter with, but
sure,
I love that team.
I watched them play once, and you said they have dogs. There was a guy that stood out. I think he was a guard.
Do you know who Salas?
Is it Salas?
Salas. They have Cam Hildreth, who's like a big 3-point shooter. I mean, they have a ton of guys. They have him. They have Kevin
played
Miller.
With his hair on fire, and I loved it. Like from start to finish in the game. I didn't watch the entire game, but I watched the first half, and he was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you wouldn't overthink that one. Go with the better team. Wake Forest is going to be a team to keep your eye on. Would you consider taking them to win the ACC or anything like that?
So we did our little like preview, and I talked about them as like they're my sleeper team in the ACC. And I was like, do I think they're going to win the ACC? No, probably not, because they're playing without 2 significant players for a lot of the season. And I've now started to think twice about getting invested because I think I'm going to do it very, very soon.
I have zero read on the ACC other than I do have to admit I took Duke to win it all. 25-1 feels like a big number, and I'm sure I'm getting duped and they suck ass. That's my only other future other than FAU, but that was more of my wife after we walked out of MSG and saw them play up close. And then I think they just lost like FIU, so that's great.
Yeah.
But I have no read in the ACC, and I am down to take a shot at like one other team, not to win it all, but like have one of these wild cards. So if you are in, I will throw a little pizza money on it if it's a decent price. Okay, I think I would probably love to talk one more game with you if that's all right, and
Sounds
then
good.
we can shut it down. Did we go over the games that you had your eye on?
Yeah. Majority
Okay,
of them were
okay.
good.
So the last one, and somebody mentioned it, I want to just ask you: Kentucky against Missouri. Kentucky returning home. I think, did they just beat UF on the road? Does that sound right? They did. That was tough because I remember that day, and I got my ass kicked. Regression hit me this past weekend, and I remember there were two really sharp spots. It was Clemson and it was UF, and I told myself I want to play one of them. I'm going to take it on the money line, but I'm scared these go 1-1. I might pick the wrong one, and if I play both, I'm going to lose the juice. So I just stayed off. I saw Florida was in control of that game for the most part, and then Kentucky came back late. I think Florida had a first half lead.
It's classic Florida.
Classic Florida. Yeah. So 11-2, Kentucky, they are 8-1 at home. They got to be feeling pretty good about themselves coming away with a win like that in not the Swamp, but Gainesville, whatever the fuck. It's a big number, but I did play at this 12.5 line. I picked the wrong big favorites. I think it was on Saturday. I elected to go with Washington instead of Tennessee. And then there was another one. I did my system with them with the first half and the second half, and it did not. So I lost 2 units on Washington. I don't know how you feel about Washington. We'll talk about them another time. But is this a lot of respect? According to the consensus, just looking at covers, it doesn't look like it. People are still okay betting on Kentucky at home. 11.5 to 12.5. I don't know. I mean, it like, do you want to fade Kentucky off of a big win? Or is this one of those where you would buy into it because, let's see, Missouri has lost 4 of their last 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, they're awful.
Oh, look how they started the year. They were 1, 2, 3, 4, 0-7 ATS. Oof. I don't know that I can do it. Do you see anything there?
Yeah, I don't know that I can do it with Missouri. I think that team is just bad. But I will preface it with saying I don't know if I've hit a double-digit spread in like 2 weeks. I've been the worst double-digit spread better in history. So maybe fade what I have to say here, but I would not get cute with anything Missouri. I think that team just stinks and they're not worth the investment.
Here's an interesting one by Trent Supergoats. Rupp will be bumping. First SEC home game of the year for us. Students are back.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about these first, and this is something I want to remember for next season, first conference home games for teams. I mistakenly got involved, I think, doing that when I faded Kansas State. You could be wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know if that was Kansas State's first conference game or if it was UCF's first conference road game, but somebody commented on my card on Twitter and was like, oh, that's really brave of you to take UCF in their first conference road game. And they got their shit kicked in. So there probably could be something there with that first conference road game fading or first conference home game betting on. So maybe something to keep in mind. If you say there's no reason. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't disagree with that, but I will say context-wise, that was also UCF's first road game in the Big 12 period. So like that's
like ever.
So that was like their first game with a step up in competition. So like that's maybe a little different than like a Missouri who's, been there, done that for a couple of years. But
that
still,
is fantastic.
I agree with the sentiment.
That is very great context. Trent Supergoats even says very true. And I'm glad that I was on the wrong side of history. So thank you for clarifying that. All right, man. Good shit. I really appreciate it. You said BTL starting at 2:00 today. I'm probably going to shut it down, so I won't be rating. But obviously, everybody, if you're in here, I'm assuming the majority of you guys are also Book It Sports followers. But 2:00 behind the lines. Jovan, man, thank you very much for hanging out. Stay in touch in terms of whenever you identify a good juicy board for the NHL. Always happy to have you come on and talk puck. Good luck on your bets tonight, and we'll chat later.
Yep, appreciate it.
All right, man, take it easy. All right, W's Jovan, Wovan, Buzz POD, Cincy -5.5. Really? Shit. I don't want to fade Buzz, but I did like Texas there. W Wovan. Yep, appreciate it. UT got dropped in home first 12 game, Big 12. Oh, okay, good to know. I'm here to tell you we will be there. Where will you be, Macy? W's. Yep. GG Vrabel. I know. I know. Huge W. Thanks, Jay. Yep. Bird, appreciate the Nuggets as always, my man. Oh, I didn't go back to your Canucks future. I'm so sorry. We just started moving ahead. I'm sorry about that, Bert. I don't know if anybody addressed it in the chat. I just remembered that you asked about the Canucks future. My bad. I don't even remember what it was. I don't think I went back to look at the comments. At the BTL stream. Yep. Thank God for Titans fans. Really? You don't like Fable? Dead Larry Bird. You're on Cincy as well. Holy shit. Appreciate you, DJNW stream. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the support. We had a packed house in here today. 230 viewers, I think I saw. Love that. On a Monday, on a Tuesday, no less. I was like, wait, fucking my day's confused. Scarf XNE with a new follow. Borden with a new follow. Long 27 new follow. Anger Jay-Z with that was yesterday. DGen request by Fat Girls. Why would you request a song by me? You know, I don't even have my speaker ready. I got nothing ready. And it's fucking Tuesday. Good shit, guys. Out of curiosity, talk NBA. We looked at it briefly. Do you want to just look at it once more? I don't know what's going to happen with Steak, man. I don't know. We're supposed to go to the fucking Wolves Magic game tonight. I might just be going with my wife and Steak's wife. 2 girls, 1 DJ. No, I'm just kidding. I think that would be pretty fucking funny. Although I really hope that motherfucker can get back. Let's see. Is there anything else you guys like? You replied. Let's see. You replied in Discord saying the Nucks skid starting with the Devils. They're way down in Cup Futures, so it would just be the Rangers are plus 750. Gotcha. Yeah, I think a skid's coming for the Canucks, and I like them. Plus 300 Steak makes it. Damn. You know, the fucking the weather's really bad here in Orlando, and it's supposed to get worse. Let's see. Oh boy, I'm fucked. But on the bright side, you have the seats, and I just forwarded you the valet, and you might see Chelsea. That is fucking hilarious. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. And also very much. Wait, hold on. Wait, are you officially? How late are you delayed to? They said. So land. Yeah, so Steak is delayed 2 hours. Not looking like a guarantee I'll even land then. Shit. Okay, Magic First Basket Tour. Well, we're gonna talk about it. Oh, I changed my pin tweet. I don't know if I told anybody that. I changed it. No more Mona Lisa. R.I.P. Mona Lisa. I had a good time with the Mona Lisa. I was there for a long time. I thought it was fine, but my wife was like, hey, you should change your pin tweet. It's been like that for over a year. Now we got the Franz First Basket hook. Man, that sucked. That would have been a nice little $600 in my pocket. All right, ladies and gentlemen, is there anybody to raid right now? Is there anybody we want to raid? I'm happy to raid somebody. Let me see. Let me go to Twitch. I don't see anybody on. What is BetQL? Is BetQL any good? What is 971 the ticket? Should we go to BetQL? What is Send It In? BetQL. Let's see.
They have Bud quarterback Nico Imavadalena. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but you saw him in the bowl game. Highest recruit for Tennessee since Manning. Perfect quarterback for Josh.
Not Chipotle, bro.
Tennessee could be a very dangerous.
They just do reruns. All right, who? Somebody tell me who. Who should we raid?
State and Arizona are my last 2 future plays.
Who should we raid? Yeah, no. Oh, that's me. Who should we raid? Yeah, no. Fuck. Oh, that's me. How do I go to the home? Oh, here we go. Fuck. Oh, that's me. How do I go? What is this? What? Why do I see all this shit on my homepage? Fucking see all this shit on my home. Girls fucking sitting on bananas and shit. The Dan Dangler? No, I'm not doing the Dan Dangler. Bearded Blevins. That sounds like something porn related. Spicy Sea Wings. That all sounds. Boston WE. That sounds fun. All the DGens in here, your boys. Good luck today, y'all. It's not. Just don't rate. Well, I guess I could just don't rate. Boston WEEI. I can do that. That's kind of fun. What is this one? Oh, this is the Spicy CW Wings. Let's see. I'm gonna break from the head. That dude's playing a fucking video game. No, I'm not doing a video game. Raid Amaroth. That's Ninja. That's Ninja, brother. Who the fuck is Ninja? I don't think Owner Sports is live. Owner Sports is not live. We will shit on all losers. Oh, yeah. That sounds hilarious. Let's rate them. What are they? What's their thing? Can anybody give me their Twitch channel name? Give me their Twitch channel. Just give me a Twitch channel. We're gonna rate them. It's just WFAN. All right, fuck it. Let's try it. Let's try this shit. All right. Let's see. Manage stream. Go to live football sims. That sounds kind of fun. All right, hold on. Raid WFAN. Let's see if that worked. The raid has been created. All right, sweet. You guys are going to WFAN. Tell them the Degenerate says hi. And Bill Belichick stinks. Bill Belichick stinks. I don't know. Is that the Boston one or is that not the Boston one? All right, guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later. Good luck on your bets. See you tomorrow. Peace. Go Magic. Go Magic. Go Magic. Go.